Welcome back to Mess Makes Meaning. Here we are making meaning out of this messy and beautiful life, nurturing our children's spirituality through wonder, story, rhythm, and play. I'm Joyce Duder.
And I'm Raenelle Tauro. Having released the sneak peek last week, we look forward to sharing more about the family liturgies developed through the Everyday Godly Play project. Welcome to our guest today, Erin Nyquist, the creative artist behind the scenes who worked with us to make these liturgies come to life.
So good to be with you. It sounds all so mysterious, a sneak peek. I mean, this is, under lock and key.
Yes, we've been very excited. And so, Erin, now that you're with us, would you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself, your faith background, and your work?
Yeah. I live in Brooklyn with my wife and our two kids. We've been here about 6 years. I grew up in the Midwest, spent most of my life in the Midwest. And in terms of faith background, grew up in probably the conservative side of the evangelical world. Many of you know that world well. And it was beautiful in so many ways, many things to hold on to, and then many things to maybe not hold on to and reimagine and unlearn. And so the last 10 or 15 years has been quite an adventure faith-wise, just learning from all of our sisters and brothers on the planet, I hope, but also part of the Christian family. And I currently serve as a liturgist and at an Episcopal church in Chelsea, Manhattan. So I'm responsible for the music and the parts of the liturgy. And then my other job, I get to lead something called Pastors, Priests, and Guides. And what we're doing is we're trying to host retreats for those who are serving the church in any capacity. And we're just saying we're trying to offer three things: space to rest and heal. Most of our pastor and priest and minister friends are exhausted. So we're trying to offer space. Number two, connection with others who are on this journey. And then number three, reimagination. Like, what might the way of Jesus need to look like as the world is changing so profoundly? So maybe right at the beginning, anyone listening, if you're a part of serving your church in children's ministry or in any way, and you're looking for some rest and some solidarity, please join us. Join us on retreat. So
That's fantastic. Thinking about that retreat, I often tell my oldest son, and all of the pastors of the world are going to cringe a bit here, but I often tell him, that's the hardest job and I don't want you to do it because there is not enough recognition, I feel, for the weight that you carry in that role. And I have two very amazing friends who are pastors. Shout out to Ben and Kristen and their husband and wife. And I just think they're incredible humans. And I have no idea how they do that big work all of the time, how they hold that space for people. So I really appreciate it.
That is such a good word. Yeah.
So, Erin, this top secret, no longer secret project of ours.
Yes. It's out. It's ready.
It's out in the open now. Has been such a labor of love and something that you and I were both so very thrilled to get started. In fact, I felt like the way we were bouncing ideas off each other, our very first Zoom call, was almost tangible. It was so fun. Can you tell us a bit about the process of this project and what drew you to it?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I think it's how we got connected. I've been, for the last 10 years, creating these liturgies in this project, A New Liturgy. And what we're trying to do is we've been trying to offer people space to create holy space wherever they find themselves. So, like, rather than, well, you need to pray, wait till Sunday, or even for our non-religious friends, hey, you need some space to get centered and grounded. All right, wait till the next time you're standing at the Grand Canyon, Well, no, anywhere. And so these little, a movable sanctuary, or we had all these different language for it. And so when you reached out and you said, can we help kids and families, parents and kids create this holy space. I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's go. And some of it is, as a parent, I desire to be able to create
Right.
the space for and with my kids. And like, I'm a professional liturgist. I don't always know what to do with kids, And so the idea that we could offer something like that was really exciting to me.
Aaron, I love what you just said, this idea of like whenever, wherever you are. I
Yeah.
think, it's hard not to feel like sacred space or sacred time is specific, like in
Mm.
a location, like, well, I must be in a church or I must.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of applying that more broadly, is so helpful for, I think, me as a parent and many parents.
Yeah.
But I think part of the challenge is many families just don't feel like they have the time to create
Mm.
that space for themselves,
Mm.
to slow down and be present, or they do want it, but not everyone's sure where to start. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit how you think the family
Yeah.
liturgies we've just created, how can that help with
Yeah.
that?
Well, can I tell a quick story? During
Yeah.
COVID, remember that
Yeah.
joyful
Yeah.
time of life? It was like maybe 4 months into to lockdown. We were never going outside. We were stuck inside and feeling just so bad in our bodies. And I
Mm.
remember saying, I've got to find a way to re-engage my joints and, all this stuff. Okay. Old man problems. But I found on YouTube, I found this woman who is leading a 20-minute stretching regimen. She said, especially for those of us who are sitting at our computers during lockdown,
Mhm.
and it was so helpful. Now, was it the only way I could have stretched? Of course not. Was it even the best way? Probably not. But it was a concrete way that someone who knew what to do with bodies was leading me.
Mm.
And that was really helpful. Had someone said, Aaron, you need to stretch, figure it out. I don't know. But this woman was willing to lead us. And so actually my kids and wife and I, we said for 30 days, we're going to do it every morning.
Oh,
And
wow.
again, to the correlation, had I said, kids, I'm going to lead us in stretching every morning. They're like, yeah, right, Dad. But we said, hey, this woman Floss from the other side of the world is going to lead us in this thing. And so I think there's something powerful about shared rhythms. There's
Okay.
something powerful about shared experiences. And then maybe even as important, shared language. The kinds of things we're saying, the kinds of things we're reflecting upon, the way we're talking about space, about God, about each other. To have some of that shared space led by someone else, guided, I think can be a real gift. I mean, it was for me and my family.
Yeah, absolutely. I resonate with all of that as I think back on COVID times and that need for
Yeah.
the movement and
Yeah.
I'm curious, did you end up actually doing it for the full 30 days together?
We did. And
You
my
did.
wife and I were really excited about it. The boys' energy waned pretty profoundly. So, I mean,
That's
imagine an
fair.
8-year-old, on the floor doing the stretch. That was not
Oh, yeah.
his jam, but we did it.
But you
And
did it. Yeah,
we
I
did
like
it.
that
Yeah, yeah.
idea of trying to make the rhythm and
Yeah.
doing that with
Mhm.
something
Yeah.
like these family liturgies.
Yeah.
And so for these family liturgies, I know Raenelle and I did the little sneak peek for everyone's, but for those who didn't get to hear, there's two different versions. So there's a morning and an evening version. That's the easiest way to think about it.
Yep. Yep.
And that's how we think about getting ready for these different moments. So whether you start your day in the early morning or even in the afternoon, that's the breathe in liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift to remind the listener that they are deeply loved just as they are.
Mm.
And then there's that evening or the breathe out liturgy. And it's a gift of slowing down and recognizing how we're feeling. And it's probably my personal favorite part of the family liturgy.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Aaron, what piece of this project are you most excited for people to have?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It definitely feels like a part A, part B.
Yeah.
Prepare for the day, reflect on the day. Prepare, reflect, look forward, look back. Um, so I would say, are you Enneagram people? Like, is that
Oh, yeah.
familiar language? Okay, yeah. I'm an Enneagram 4 kind of melancholy artist. So like the evening
Best
reflection one is
description.
my jam. I mean, I love to look back. I love the kind of melancholy, the quiet, the reflection. So that's the one that feels easy to look back.
Mm,
It's the morning one that helps me look forward in hope. That
Mm.
feels like the more necessary one for me.
mm.
So now my wife, Enneagram 7, she's the exact opposite. She lives in the morning liturgy. She is joyful and possibility. And her invitation might be at the end of the day to look back and just notice what was going on today. Um, so, yeah, easier for me for the evening, but more necessary to get in touch with that joy and possibility.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I love breaking it out into what you're drawn to versus what you might need.
Yeah,
It's
isn't that?
I
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it in that way, and so it's interesting to even think for myself and for my kids though, like what one is more prone to. But my children are the opposite of each other, so
Okay.
they will
Yep.
have the opposite what they're drawn to, and then the opposite what they
Absolutely.
what
So
they
are mine.
need.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
One thing, can I
oh,
say
go
one
ahead.
thing?
Yeah.
I hope this is okay. This was unsanctioned, but we had a little group of maybe 8 or 9 of us doing a Zoom meeting with pastors, priests, and guides. And I always lead an opening practice. And this is maybe 2 weeks ago. I led us in the evening liturgy
Oh,
before
yeah.
this
Oh,
thing,
wonderful.
Yeah.
a bootleg copy. But I was like, this is made for kids and families, but like, don't listen to it like it's a children's resource.
Mhm.
Just enter into it. And it was so meaningful. It's like
Mm.
9 of us from around the country via Zoom. So we weren't even together. And this space to look back on the day was really meaningful. So that was cool.
That's
Yeah. No.
fantastic. And a good
Yeah.
reminder that it doesn't have to be childish, in
Yeah.
the sense
No.
of,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't need to be bouncy, and that it
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a moment where you can be settled and be in that moment and feel it,
Yeah.
whether you are 7 or 97.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that, Erin.
Yeah.
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 Well, and I think the profoundness of our humanity, our ability to be reflective and to
Mm-mm.
be contemplative is all ages. All
Yeah.
ages
Oh,
can do it. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
Um well, and speaking of children, I've actually been playing the breathe in liturgy on the way to school.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, so I've
Okay.
been doing it
Yeah.
pretty regularly.
Okay.
Um I can hear my children either breathing along with it or starting to sing along with it. And it's really, I find it, the morning commute is already so stressful. So
Yeah,
it's really
that's right.
nice as a family in the car. I feel like it helps us all take a deep breath and to
Mm,
do that preparation for the day.
yeah.
And so I'm reminded, it might be selfishly that I'm actually reminded how much I personally need the time and space to center my own
Yeah.
self
Mm.
Me
in the
too.
beginning. Like, this is, let's be clear, this is not just for kids. My friend just texted me the other day. She had never listened to our podcast, happened to
Mm,
start with the family liturgy, and is just was
Wow.
thrilled. Yeah, it was.
mm.
She said, "This is so nice." Is what she was just
Oh,
mentioning, like how much this was, good for her.
Mm.
And so, I think people are hungry for that, Aaron. And so I'm wondering, for our parents and caregivers, do you have any other simple practices that you
Mm.
do, that you've come across as a liturgist, or just in your faith journey, that you would suggest to others to incorporate to have these moments of grounding or resetting throughout the day?
Yeah. Well, 2 come to mind, and they're similar in ways. One is just a riff off the exam and the evening look back, like the high low on the day. We've done that many times, especially at dinner. Where did you feel most alive? Where did you feel least alive today? And there's some good stories that come out of that. One that's a little more concrete and a little more robust, that I've done in community, like on retreats, but also, especially when the kids were younger, the tangible was helpful. And we call it the 2-hand practice. In one hand, what is something you're so grateful for? And then on the other hand, what is something that is hard, that's painful, that you're mourning, that you're lamenting,
Mm.
And then I think what's really important is neither eliminates the other. They're both true. And so when we're on retreat and we're doing it kind of as a contemplative practice, we always place both over our hearts. And again, let them just mingle together. But again, there's some insight, especially I wanted my kids to know, you don't have to choose. Is it all good or is it all bad? Am I
Yeah.
only happy or am I only sad? Like, yes and yes.
Mm.
So to find concrete ways to help both of them exist together, I think is a gift.
Oh
I
my
need that.
God. Yes, I need
I
that.
need
Yeah,
that.
the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
recognition of we can hold 2 emotions at the
Yes.
same
Mhm.
time.
Yes.
Thinking about the first day of school for my kids was just last week, and that we could be very excited to see our friends and also so sad and nervous that summer's
Absolutely.
ending and that
Yes.
we have new things starting. And I love this tangible way of holding that and holding it to our heart
Mhm.
and understanding we can carry both. So thank you,
Yeah.
Erin. That was
Yeah.
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 beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
also hope that there's a resilience offered to our kids through
Mm.
embodying this understanding through the family liturgies that's being offered
Mhm.
of God being with us, even in the
Yeah.
hard and difficult
Yeah.
times, and that each child is so deeply loved. All of us are so deeply
Yeah.
loved just as you are.
Yeah.
And there's such beautiful messages and godly play language used throughout the entirety of this. So I have to make sure Raenelle lets all of our listeners know. Raenelle, how can they access these amazing liturgies?
Yes, of course. We really want this to be shared widely, and so we are inviting everyone to go to the podcast episode description of this episode, and that there will be a link there. The link will bring you to our Everyday Godly Play resource page, and so there'll be lots of other things you can check out, including a preview of the family liturgy, and then there'll be a link there to sign up for our free Everyday Godly Play membership, where you'll not only access the family liturgy, but other curated resources that we're offering throughout the year. So we're really excited to be in connection with you and to make sure that we are walking alongside you as you nurture your children's spirituality.
That's amazing. So you are giving this away.
Yeah, the
Can I
membership
just,
Everyday Godly Play is
yes.
free.
Can I just say to everyone listening, they are doing an awesome thing. This is free. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Erin, so we've shared that, and we can't say enough again. Thank you, and what a
Mm.
gift it has been to be on this journey with you and work on this, and just to provide this kind of resource that I think just really speaks to both our hearts and our minds and
Mm.
our bodies. To, like you said, to have shared language and shared rhythm and all the things, to be in community with one another through not both just spoken word, but through music.
Mm.
I, as a musician, selfishly love having something that is doing all those things.
Mm.
So, before we go, Erin, we just say thank you. And then we offer our guests the opportunity to give our listeners a blessing. And so, would you do us the honor?
Oh, I would love to. Um, and this blessing is actually at the end of the morning liturgy. So for those who haven't heard it, and let me just say a word about it, and then we'll do the blessing. Can I? Okay, the main song that we've referred to for those who haven't heard it is just a simple refrain: "You're loved as you are." And frankly, Joy, this came directly after our first conversation. I was
Mhm.
so fired up, and we got off the Zoom, and I was actually that sat at that piano, and I thought my kid was in junior high at the time, my son, William. If there was one thing that I would want my son to hear every day before he goes off to, I mean, is junior high the cruelest place on earth? I mean,
It
is
might
it?
be.
Oh, it's just so, what is the one thing? And just started playing, you're loved as you are, exactly as you're made to be. Love is who you are. And we know you're going to be okay. And that just came out, and that kind of became some of the heartbeat of this thing. So at the very end of this liturgy, we end with these words, and I'm going to invite you in a posture of receiving, wherever you are, if you would open your hands for this blessing. My friends, as we come to a close, know that you are loved as you are. You are part of something sacred. Your voice, thoughts, ways of being, and the play that is your work all helps tell a story in a beautiful new way. And we know we're going to be okay. Have a great day.
Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome.